just for anyone out there, right? If someone's watching or listening to this and is a creator or thinking about doing some content creation or things like that, I think that's one thing to keep in mind. Like Justin said, is do it for you first. Don't do it for other people. I mean, if you aren't passionate about the content that you're making, if you don't want to be a consumer of your own stuff, then chances are some other people may not want to either. I think you've got to love it and enjoy it yourself first. And I think that's what we've always taken a pleasure in is making things that we enjoy and making
Yeah.
content for us. And then if there's people out there that are as weird as we are and enjoy the same stuff as we do, then more power.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back to another episode of Behind the Creator. Today we have 2 out of 3 participants of Off the Monorails. There, I got it out. Today we have Jordan and Justin with us. Ryan is not able to join us tonight, but we send him our well regards and hope to catch him next time for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So yeah, thanks for being here, man. I appreciate it. Second episode, so we're still new to this, getting into the groove, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Been there.
Love it.
Yeah. So guys. Yeah. So since there's 2 of you, why don't you introduce yourself, Jordan? Now, if you want to start, and what is your background on Disney? How did you start your Disney fandom?
Yeah. My name is Jordan, and from Off the Monorails, and a lot like Justin. We are, a lot of people may not know this, but we're cousins, and we're actually born 2 weeks apart. So we've been together since the beginning, pretty much. And so our times going to Disney and our start and fanfare for Disney and theme parks altogether started together. We started going to parks together with, as our family. And so, yeah, and it kind of culminated from there, right? We grew up watching Disney movies all together, and it was one of those things that stuck with us. And as we got older, we got away from Disney and the parks a little bit, and then we found ourselves back, and here we are today.
Sweet, that's amazing. So Justin, you kind of have a similar story, right? It's just in
Yeah,
this
me and
together.
Jordan, day one hitters, 2 weeks apart, grew up together. We never lived that far apart from each other. So it was always, just a phone call, text away, going through school and all those years. And then, 2 years after we were born, my brother was born. And obviously I've lived with him all my life, basically until we became adults. And, he's much like me. I'm much like him. We have our differences too, but like Jordan said, like just Disney has been integrated into our early lives, and then it was missing in the middle, and then it came back to us in our adult lives as we started having children and families of our own, and it just did the vicious cycle, and here we are.
Yeah.
Amazing. So is Ryan related to you guys as well, or is he just a friend?
He's my brother.
Oh, okay. I guess I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Okay. Amazing. So Ryan kind of came later into the Disney.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Yeah. It's kind of funny how it got started, because I mean, for a while, Justin and I were going, we're annual pass holders. I think I started going again
Before me.
regularly. Yeah. Maybe 2015. I think the way it started out was we started to go for some spring training baseball. That was when it was held there at ESPN, and we kind of got hooked. We stayed at Port Orleans, Riverside, and my wife and I, and kind of just got hooked from there. And so we got annual passes, and the rest is history. Justin wasn't too far behind me as far as starting to go and get annual pass and taking his son to the parks and things. And then we kept saying, "Hey, Ryan, you got to come join us. You got to come experience this." Right? There's always something new. There's things changing all the time. And
Ryan's
Ryan,
a self-proclaimed pessimist on the situation.
yeah. I mean, he was one of those that he swore up and down he's never going to go to Disney ever again. He took his
Yeah.
daughters to Magic Kingdom, like a lot of
They had
people
a
do.
terrible time.
Yep, just because they didn't have plans, and that's just all they knew. And then a few years into that, we said, hey, we finally let's go. Let's take a boys trip and let's just show you how to do adult Disney style. And yeah, so he I think maybe a little bit reluctantly went for it, and the rest is history. He was hooked immediately. We took him around Epcot and drinking around the world, and
right up his
a bunch
alley.
of other things. Skyliner, he was hooked instantly. There's just a lot of great things that kind of came from that first trip in February 21, and that's kind of where we had started talking about this podcast idea, and me and Justin, and then once we had Ryan, we knew we had something to do with it. So the rest is history, as they say.
Sweet, man. Yeah, I love that. I love that the unique perspective you guys have as a podcast in general, because there isn't really, I obviously don't know all the content creators out there, but having the three dads, it's a unique perspective that a lot of people can't really share, because you have that family aspect, but you do add in some adult things, because Disney's for all ages. It doesn't have to be just families.
Yeah,
we have proven it.
Yeah, I mean that's what's great about it, right? It's so versatile, and we talk about it all the time on our show. Is every trip can be what you want to make it, and whether that's traveling your family and doing family oriented things all the time, or letting the grandparents take the kids for a night, and you and your significant other can go hit the night on the town, so to speak. Or you can go take a weekend trip with the boys. There's so many options that you can do, and so that's what's great, and that's what we love about it. That's what we try to preach.
Or just going down to it, just celebrate Bob Iger coming back, just to prove his stonks are great. Done it. Hand raised. Guilty as charged.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So we've talked about the podcast a little bit, how it started. Walk us through how that really started, and what has the journey been like since then?
Yeah, I mean, man, it has been a journey, that's for sure. I think anyone creating anything, any type of content in any medium is knows kind of what we feel there. And it started for me was, I got the idea. I started listening to more and more podcasts, probably like a lot of other people during the pandemic. I was at home, working from home, didn't really have much to occupy my time, or listening. I love music. Me and Justin have a music background. We played a lot of music throughout our years, and sometimes you get sick of listening to music. You want to hear other people's thoughts and opinions, and so I started looking at different content around Disney, and started listening to some different podcasts and things like that, some YouTube channels, and there's some things out there, but I felt like there was some content missing, at least from a perspective, especially a unique adult perspective. People that weren't afraid to take the fairy tale out of the story every now and then, right? And it's not always pixie dust out there, and so that's kind of the idea that I pitched to Justin was, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think we can do something like this? And like I said, we pitched around the ideas of how we wanted it to be, and the kind of the concepts, and what kind of show we wanted it to be. And it was very loose, right? And then once, like I said, once we got Ryan on board, we took that trip, and he was hooked. I mean, he was an annual pass holder probably a month later after that. Well, it was actually when you couldn't even buy a pass. So he was buying weekend tickets over and over again.
Wow.
Because he was hooked. And so when we knew we had him in, and he said, yeah, I'm down to be involved with this, then it was a no brainer. And we had the loose concept of what we thought we might want it to be. And we just took that leap of faith, and we booked another trip later that year to we stayed at Animal Kingdom Lodge. It was their first time staying there. And we got in a room, and I kid you not. It's an iPad, an iPad and a microphone. One
Hey.
microphone and an iPad. We lit it up, and it sounds like we're in a tin can. And if you go back, we left it as is,
Yeah, we
raw.
never doctored it.
Episode one
Hey,
and
yeah.
two of our podcast is, and we left it that way to show kind of where we came from, right, and to show the evolution and just what we were all about, right. It was a raw show. We didn't know what we wanted to do with it. We just wanted to essentially have the conversations we were already together having, back and forth about what all news happening at the parks. I mean, it was just us turning the microphones on to our daily conversations that were happening around that time in our lives.
I want to build on that because we had a general idea what Jordan and I wanted to do for the podcast where it was just me and him.
Yeah.
When Ryan got involved, it took a different spin. And then we started trying to, okay, well, let's attack it from this angle. Let's attack it from this angle. And then it's just like, you know what? Let's just push all that out to the side. And let's just have the conversation we're already doing and just hit record. And let's just see what happens. And every night we record, it's the same thing. It's literally just talking. Like, I can't explain it. Those first 10 to 15 episodes was just getting used to having a microphone and like literally just talking into it. But once we got in our groove, it was just second nature. What we were already doing, sans microphones and podcast setups. And the growth of it has just been phenomenal, and very proud of where we came from and how it all started. I wouldn't change a thing about it. And I would do it all over again if we had to.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Yeah, I came along, I forget, I think I was is before I'm fairly new to Disney as well. Like I went there as a parks as a kid, you know. Yeah. My family took me a few times. Similar experience. We made the mistake of going during Christmas week, you know, and the first time in Disney, it was, you know, as you can imagine, super crowded. That was in 2006. So I have some unique memories of like attractions that aren't there anymore. I remember being terrified of Stitch's Great Escape.
Weren't we all?
Yeah.
At some point, don't fake it, y'all. You know you were scared at one point.
Oh yeah. But so, you know, fast forward to the future. My wife and I get married, and I'm really, you know, I'm starting to find travel and be excited about travel. And my wife has always been a huge Disney fan, but you couldn't convince me to go to the parks. You know, I was like, that's such a waste of money to go to Florida. We could go to Japan, we could go to Paris, you know, all these places. Why would we go to Disney? But finally she convinced me, and I was like, well, let me just surprise her with this trip. And just the planning of that trip, like, just totally, I was ready to go to Disney. I was obsessed with Disney before I even set foot there as an adult. You know, the first time. So it just like it unraveled since then, you know. Yeah. But I think it was planning one of my our trips after COVID and the parks were reopening, and I forget even what I was searching for, man. I've typed into like a random thing. You know, I was landscaping at the time, so I would just listen to music and podcasts all day. And I typed in a random thing about Disney, and Off the Monorails popped up, and that's how I found you guys. And I just loved.
Wow,
you know,
that's awesome to hear. That's
You
awesome.
know?
Like a blue collar, like just what we are all about. Like that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, it was, you know, just coincidence, and you happened to be talking about something that, you know, I wanted to know more about. I don't even remember what it was anymore, but you know, it's just, you know, I've listened since then because it's just a unique, like I said already, it's a unique perspective. It's not the same, you know, I love all kinds of Disney podcasts, but it's, you know, eventually you can't listen to every single one because a lot of them do repeat themselves. And exactly. So having that unique perspective of the three dudes in, like, it's meant for adults, right? It's not meant for, it's not really meant for kids. It's meant for adults that are planning their vacations and
Yeah.
getting that unique perspective. So I love everything about the podcast.
Awesome.
Thank you.
That's great to hear. It's so funny. I mean, we sit here today, right? And we've been doing this thing for almost 3 years, right? But every time I
So
hear a
crazy.
story like that of people just discovering us, and we've been so, blessed, so far, and we have so many people reach out to us in a similar fashion, through DMs or what have you. And it's just something similar, right? Like, hey, I just, reached out and wanted to reach out and say, hey, thank you for doing what you do, and you made a difference today. And it's been great listening to you and getting to know. It's like, it's amazing. And that's that's what we wanted to start, right? We wanted to say, hey, here's another place, here's another option, and maybe you can get something out of it, right? So that's awesome.
And I also want to build on that and say we knew when we wanted to do this, we didn't want to be like anybody else.
Yeah.
We just wanted to do our thing and put it out there. And if it got traction, awesome. If it didn't get traction, awesome. We were still having a great time, just
Still
doing our
are.
thing.
Yeah.
And still are, exactly, and still are. And we have just been so blessed to have, so many people reach out to us and say how much we have made a difference for them. Or we gave them an opportunity to explore going to Disney through a different avenue and completely eliminate the stresses because of some of the things that we have stumbled on going through our troubles of being pass holders. You learn one new thing every year basically, and you just share that knowledge, and some other people like had no idea and now they do, and it just completely changed how they do their trip planning and thinking about making their trips. So getting notifications of people just thanking us for just letting them know about things, just it is I don't even know the word I'm looking for here, but it's like it's such a warm feeling to share some common knowledge that some people just didn't think about and sharing a different perspective.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, I'm 100% with you. It's awesome to, even thinking about, I've converted some friends and family, I took my parents back recently. It's kind of like a rebuttal trip to our December disaster in 2006, and it's like it's an awesome feeling, making people fall in love with Disney. Coming from that person that fell in love itself.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, that's a cool feeling for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So like, building on that, what stands out about Disney to you? Like, why, I talked about it already, but why go there instead of some of these other world destinations? What stands out in your mind?
You want to go, Jordan?
Yeah. We've been lucky enough. I've been lucky enough to travel a lot as well and see a lot of different places domestically, internationally. And, it's the one thing that is super great about Disney is very attractive to us. And it's like, oh man, I'd like to go travel here, but I could just slip on down to Disney for the weekend instead. And that's what's I think there's a convenience factor around it, right? Being semi-local to the Orlando area, we're only a couple hours away, so we can easily slip on down, and it happens all the time. Ryan's super notorious for it. Let's book that hotel Thursday night, and we'll see you in about 12 hours, Disney. And so
notorious.
Yeah, it's we've all done it a time or two at least, but and that's what's great. And like I kind of mentioned it previously was, you can always do something different if you want to. You can have these different feelings. Justin's got a picture that we took over at Wilderness Lodge, and which is one of my favorite places on Disney property, solely because it feels like you're in the Pacific Northwest. I mean, it feels like you are not at Disney at all. Like, it's amazing to think that the world's most popular theme park is, as the crow flies, half a mile away from that resort, and you would never know while you're on that property. And that's the beautiful part of it. You know, if it's just having those different types of moments. And you know, we've done different resort stays and resort only stays. We've done, you know, theme park, and so you can just get all the
Numerous
rides
approaches.
in. It's, you know, that's what attracts me to it over and over and over again, is there's always something new to do. You can make it what you want to make it. If you want to have you know, a thrill weekend, you can. If you want to have a foodie weekend, man, it's hard to beat. It's one of the best places for foodies, right?
Yeah.
So that's what keeps me going back. Yeah, we make time to go to other destinations as well, but Disney definitely takes the you know, the most part of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, much like Jordan, I also have done my fair share of traveling. Going to, I've been to London, I've been to Ireland, I've been to Mexico, the Bahamas. I've done all of that stuff, and just love traveling in general. Uh, but Disney itself, especially as we got more involved with the podcast, um, I think I've just found a different appreciation for it, that I never did before. Like us digging up information on for the podcast, and it always leads me down the road of finding one new thing to do every trip.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's one of my rules that I implement every time I go down there. I try and incorporate one new thing into my itinerary that I've never done. And you'll never cross off everything to do at Walt Disney World. It's so changing. You'll never get the opportunity to do every single thing. So I implore your listeners, and our listeners know this already, find one new thing and implement it into your trip. Go in completely blind and just enjoy the experience. Even if it's a bad experience, enjoy it, because now you know. You at least have that in the back of your mind. I won't do that again because I did not enjoy that experience. But if you find them diamonds in the rough, I promise you, one example. Example.
Please.
Wilderness Lodge, eating there at Jordan, what's your favorite restaurant right there?
Geyser Point?
No, the other one, the quick service. Or
Roaring
sit down restaurant, sorry.
Whispering Canyon.
Whispering Canyon.
Yep.
Yes. That is a hidden gem, my friend.
It's fun.
Yeah.
That is a hidden gem. Another one, Port Orleans Riverside.
Yeah.
Late at night.
Yeehaw Bob.
You see Yeehaw Bob playing there?
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Go party it down while he's tickling the ivories. I promise you, you are going to have the time of your life. And not only that, he is a Disney legend.
Yeah.
You're talking about someone historically like huge within the Disney company.
Almost 30 years.
And well known within the Disney company. And the dude is just as down to earth and humble as you would ever know. And just like I said,
well,
do those one new things.
Yeah. And to kind of on that as well, you know, everyone refers to the Disney bubble, right? And there's something to be said about that, right? And it does feel different. It feels different when you're there in that bubble and you're not surrounded by the quote unquote real world. It's a different feeling. And it obviously is designed to be that way, and it works in their favor. And it goes right along with that. We talk about that Disney difference all the time, right? About, you know, the level of detail that you get in the parks, and the service, the friendliness that you experience, the camaraderie. I mean, how many places can you go where you will, you know, you're in line. It might be a hot day. It gets incredibly hot there, but you might be in line just waiting to get on a ride and strike a conversation with people. You have no idea who they are. You don't know where they come from. They're all different backgrounds, but you're all there for a common purpose, to have a good time that day. And you come together, and we've met some incredible people that way. And that's hard to find places that enable you to do that. And it's just like, it pops out of nowhere there, time and time again.
Yeah. I 100% agree with whatever you guys are saying. Yeah, for sure. I want to go jump back to a small point Justin talked about about the Whispering Canyon Cafe. Wait,
Oh yeah.
I had an opportunity to eat there. We haven't gotten there yet, but I absolutely am not a fan of 50s primetime.
Oh yeah.
Um, and I've been afraid to go to Whispering Cafe for that
Yeah.
reason because I'm afraid that it's going to be like it. So tell me, like, is it
It
on the same level of embarrassment
it
as
can't. You have to be. You have to be. You have to be humble,
yeah.
Be
and you have
open
to
about it.
go in there and be yeah,
Yeah.
open mind. um it can be for the right, for the wrong person it could be brash sometimes. I don't think it's as brash as 50s prime time.
Yeah.
But I mean, you sit down, they're going to throw the napkins and the straws at you, sort of thing.
Okay.
If you need ketchup,
Yep,
it's a great place
ketchup.
to ask for some ketchup.
Yep, ask for
um
ketchup.
so there can be a little brashness to it. They like to have fun, especially like
Yeah.
they'll have the kids do the little like rodeo around the restaurant and stuff, and that's a good time, a fun time. It's a whole cast of characters, so you never know what you're going to get, who you're going to get from a server standpoint. Over the years, we've had many great ones. Lee comes to mind,
Lee.
especially.
Lee
Uh,
is the best.
but if you can have a lot of fun times there too. So I would say it's a little bit dependent on who you get, the attitude you go in there with. If you're not having the best day and ready to kind of let loose of yourself a little bit, maybe that day is not the best day to go to Whispering Canyon. But
Yeah.
if you want to try something different, and also, I
The
mean,
food's good.
food is good.
I've
You'll
heard
be
that. Yeah.
miserable. You'll be miserable. I've cleared 3 milkshakes last time I was there too. $10 all you can drink milkshakes. I mean, I'm throwing down. So um yeah, it's a good time for the right occasion.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So Justin mentioned some of his hidden gems. Jordan, you got any other hidden gems you can bless the podcast with?
Yeah. Let's see. um I'm a big foodie, and I'm a big kind of quiet spot kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
There's little spaces you can find some, R&R, so to speak. I'm notorious to grab a few drinks and go find a hammock at Caribbean Beach. Whether I'm
Okay.
staying there or not, you can easily just park at Disney Springs
He's
and
not
take a
lying.
bus over there, or find your
Yeah.
way via Skyliner there from a
Right.
park. Um, so yeah,
Baseline.
Baseline is
Oh
fantastic.
yeah.
You're in Hollywood
Yeah, you'll catch
Studios
Jordan there.
all the time. As I mentioned about Wilderness Lodge, Geyser Point, bury me there.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's probably the best place on Disney property. And yeah, I honestly, what I found myself liking a lot um, is, I work remotely sometimes, and I had the pleasure of working recently from Riviera, from the library there. It's just off of the lobby. Man, what a great place to hang out. You're right next to the cafe, so you're smelling the coffee going all day long, and just a nice, quiet, quiet little
Vibes.
alcove to the side. And man, great eats. Got Bar Riva downstairs from
Oh
you
my
that you can go
gosh.
snag some food and drink
Yeah.
from. Those are that's my type of little hidden gems, is those little places I can go and hide myself away a little bit from the rest of the people.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, I took a solo trip to get some content. I think it was back in September of last year, and I took the opportunity to go to I'm gonna forget the name of it. It's the lounge right in Animal Kingdom, right as you're going into
Nomad.
Pandora. Yeah, Nomad. That was my
Nomad's
first time
great.
going into
Oh,
Nomad.
Jordan.
Yeah, I took Justin and Ryan there for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's so good. It's so
dude.
good.
I don't know if it was just the bartender I got, but he made those drinks so strong. I was like, all
Animal
right,
Kingdom.
all right, I gotta I gotta be done. This
Yeah,
is,
there
you
it's
know,
notorious. Animal Kingdom's notorious for that. the cart next to Expedition Everest. That's the one.
Yeah.
That's Ryan's go-to there because yeah, notorious for that little extra pour, if you will.
Yeah, yeah, seriously. I'm just watching them make these drinks, and there's, the thing about I loved about solo just being there by myself is like if I'm just with my wife, I'm just gonna talk to her. But like
Yeah.
by myself, I'm like, I gotta talk to somebody. So you start talking to these people, and we're all staring at this bartender. Just, is he gonna
Yeah.
stop? Is he gonna stop?
Yeah.
It just keeps pouring and pouring. It was
Well,
crazy, man.
Please don't.
Hopefully this comes across the green screen. But this is how much we liked Nomad Lounge.
No.
Oh,
No.
a little bit.
No.
Oh, I got it for a
Tusker.
second. Tusker
Tusker
something.
Lager. Yeah.
Tusker Lager.
Oh, yeah,
Rest
yeah.
in peace. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never got to experience Tusker Lager, but I like the Safari Amber. The Safari Amber is not bad, but
It's
Yeah.
not bad.
Yeah. It's all right.
R.I.P. to Tusker Lager.
yeah.
Such
What-
a good beer.
Speaking of beer, man, what is some go-tos for you guys?
The red ale at Baseline.
Okay.
It's great. It's the North Coast beer. It's they also serve it at Geyser Point recently, so that's always good. The Scrimshaw Pilsner also you can find at Baseline and at Geyser Point is also a really good beer if you want something a little bit straight Pilsner style, German style beer.
Give me the half and half.
Oh, the half and half.
The half and
Rose
half
Crown.
at Rose and
Oh,
Crown.
Oh,
Heart.
yes,
Guinness in the Heart.
Oh yes.
Yeah, it's what I actually had on St. Patty's Day. That was great.
Yes, you
Sweet.
did.
Yeah, let me see what else is out there. We're notorious for just finding the best festival beers
Yeah.
for Epcot and grading those out and hoping that they come back for next year's festivals. So we always looked for the beer at the Canada Pavilion for every festival. Creative Arts doesn't let us
I'll
down.
speak for Ryan here. Labatt Blue and Moosehead. That's Ryan 100%.
Straight
And
to
then-
the cart.
Yeah. Or he'll say a leaping leprechaun from Rose and Crown.
Yeah.
That's Ryan right there. Either of those three, he is guaranteed to get anytime
Yeah.
he sets foot in Epcot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's
Guaranteed.
something about when you're at Port Orleans. I love the fact that they serve primarily Abita beers.
Abita, yeah.
And I go back to when we took a trip and recorded some shows there live from Port Orleans, Riverside, and so every time I have a Purple Haze now, it's my memory kind of just goes back there. Call it
Should
core
we
memories,
talk
if you
about
will,
that?
But it's
Yeah.
great. It's so Abita Purple Haze is always a good go-to for me there.
So just a little side note here, making a live stream work remotely. That's a memory that'll be etched in my brain for the rest of my days. That was a
You gotta-
fun day.
Yeah, we got to figure it out.
Those beers were well deserved. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I love memories like that. The ones that just kind of stick out in your mind, like
Mhm.
especially with Disney, man. All it takes is like a smell. Sometimes you
Oh, yeah.
smell something, and you're like, whoa, that took me
Yeah.
back. It's bad, man. Like sometimes we've gone to the ocean a few times, and I'm like, wow, this smells like Flight of Passage. Like I shouldn't be thinking about Flight of Passage when I'm at the ocean, but that's kind of what happens.
Yeah, I've got all kinds of room sprays and candles right here next to me on my desk.
Yeah.
I can go transport myself to the cabins at Fort Wilderness really, really, really quick, or I could transport myself to Fiji from soaring over
Yeah.
or soaring around the world. So I just in an instant I can take myself there.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, hey, let's talk about some new stuff, man. Like Disney's
Yeah.
just like Disney's coming out of the gate with all this crazy stuff. And I talked to Matt a little bit about this on the last episode. And he's like, he's such a smart guy, man. He had like such a logical way to look at it. But like,
We're
D20,
doomed.
yeah. D23 is coming up. Sadly, I tried to get tickets. That was a fiasco.
Yeah.
Um,
What a joke, right?
yeah, it was pretty crazy, man. I'm upset. I was like, I didn't even bother trying today because I
They gone.
yeah, it's I could have bought the $1,000 ones, and I'm like, no, there's
No.
no way I'm doing that.
No.
And they probably went instantly too, anyways. But
Hmm.
yeah, D23 is coming out. We know, they talked about some blue sky stuff the past couple years. What do you think is going to be the big announcements that come out of that main live stream? Josh tomorrow comes out. I always get so hyped up. It's like, what's coming? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that jumps out to me real right off the rip is they've been kind of teasing those BD droids. I could see those being officially announced to be in a park in some capacity, right throughout Galaxy's Edge. So I could see them kind of officially announcing their addition to Galaxy's Edge. And listen, that I mean, I think that's incredible. I think that what they're doing with that program is really cool. And we've kind of talked about this, right? Is the things that they can do to Galaxy's Edge to improve it and expand and build that canon to make it mean something other than
Yeah,
just a place at the parks. I'm all for. They've got a lot of opportunity for expansion, especially with the Halcyon closure in Disney World. So, I mean, they're going to be they've got some things up their sleeve, right? When they announced the with the that Morgan Stanley call that they had a few weeks back, and Iger
yeah,
kind of said, "Hey, this is where we're going to put our money towards over the next 10 years." And I mean, it's an incredible amount of money, right? $60 billion or something like that.
yeah,
Um, so they're I think they're gonna announce some expansion. I do think in some way, in some capacity, they have to. I think just for optics alone. I
yeah.
mean, the blue sky stuff, we may get a little bit more confirmation on that. It looks like some of those patents have been filed for some of the,
Right.
from the ride vehicle standpoint, from the boat standpoint for that Moana attraction that was teased. And then maybe we'll get some additional details and uh, maybe firm dates on that. The Encanto piece and all that Dino Land USA kind of
Yeah, that's
redone
Right.
3D.
the Animal
Right.
Kingdom stuff that has been hinted at for
Yeah,
so long. Yeah, I'm hoping that we get something on that.
Yeah, I'm wondering, man, because I like well, before they released information for D23, they were hyping it up. They're saying this is going to be the biggest and best ever,
sure. Yeah.
and I was excited because I thought that meant like more announcements, like. But I think what they meant was like because now they're incorporating, I think it's called the Honda Center,
Yep.
and that's
Yeah.
that's
New
that's
venue.
new. That's new
Mm-hmm.
for this year. So I think maybe that they're just talking about that side of things, like, hey, we're gonna have more entertainment, more offerings in that sense. But
Yeah. I think they're trying to make it as big as some of the other just mainstream conventions, right? Is that's
right,
what they want to turn this into is a full blown convention. Yeah, it's got the Disney focus, but yeah, they want that convention style crowd to come through and really just overtake an entire city like the other major cons do.
yeah,
Um, so that's what I see, and yeah, expanding the facility, going and making this whole thing with day at the ballpark, that sort of thing. I mean, I think they're just trying to attract more and more people to make it more of that festive environment. What we're going to get, what that brings to the actual announcement table or anything like that, I still think they're going to short us pretty heavily, unfortunately.
yeah. Yeah, I like your perspective though, man. I was listening to your podcast. I forget when it was, but you were talking about when the Epic Universe video was first
Mm-hmm.
dropped. We got
Yeah.
all the names of the lands, and you had a good perspective as like, Disney is such a multifaceted company. It's not just, people have a tendency. Everybody's looking at Universal versus Disney World, but it's like it's way more than that. And in like, all those billions of dollars may look like a lot, but when you have animatronics that cost like $100 million,
Yeah.
Disney is a bigger company, man. There's so much going on, and they just announced like the most amazing sounding cruise ship in the whole entire world, man. Universal isn't even in the cruise ship game,
Right.
Yeah, I was
so
about to
it's
build on that. When people talk about the Disney versus Universal thing, they forget that Disney also has other forms of like things they own that bring in income, like the cruise lines.
yeah,
Like they're also overseas. So yeah, we have multi, you know,
Yeah.
different faceted companies under the Disney umbrella versus the two Universal parks and their uh distribution. That's about
yeah,
it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that was the point of that, right? Is that just now, does Disney owe us some addition, to combat? Yeah, they're going to have to
yeah.
combat Universal, right, from a theme park experience perspective. And let's be honest with ourselves, right? Is Universal's coming for them. Universal's coming for them with Epic Universe. They're swinging for the fences, and they've done great things. Universal has with their newer attractions and newer themes. Right? If
Oh
you
yeah,
look at what they did to redo the areas for like Jurassic Park in Orlando or the Jurassic World area in Hollywood. I
yeah.
mean, to bring those dinosaurs to life. I mean, they really have done that. I mean, they've got a triceratops walking around for crying out loud. Um, just
Yeah.
they can do that sort of thing, right? And I've given them kudos time and time again about Harry Potter and those lands and
Yeah.
across their parks. It's incredible, right? And they're challenging Disney, and I think it's healthy. I think Disney
Mm-hmm.
needs to be challenged. Say, hey, you have to be held to a higher standard, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's
Absolutely.
exactly what we need. Just uh
Consumers
bubble.
should win. It shouldn't be
Absolutely.
Universal winning or Disney winning. It's
Oh,
Yeah.
consumers that should win.
yeah, and we're definitely going to, right? So just hang on. They've got a lot there, they've got a lot of money invested in a lot of places. You mentioned that cruise ship, right? I mean, I just got off of the Disney Wish,
Amazing.
which and it was really good. I mean, I can't say more enough great things about it. I can't wait to go experience more Disney cruises, right? Coming from
Right.
someone who's experienced a lot of cruises, 10, 12 plus. Um, so you get that, and then you start to see these other ships and what they're doing, and just the investment they're making across the board. They got all these new movies that they're working on as well.
Yep.
Movies that cost a lot of money. Not to say Universal isn't doing that too, but
Right. Yeah.
it's just remember the perspective. It's not like Justin mentioned. It's not just these theme parks.
Yeah.
It's the whole portfolio. It's what you have to put in perspective. And when they cast out that investment, those investment numbers, and it's all built around experiences. Those experiences include many more things other than just the theme parks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. So we talked about we've teased the Universal a little bit. Obviously, you guys are a Disney World podcast,
Yep.
but how do you guys feel about Universal? I'm intrigued as personally.
Yeah. So I used to go to Universal quite a bit. I was a pass holder there for probably 5, 6 years straight. Um, got out of it. Loved going to experience all the thrill rides. I'm a thrill ride guy. Love Harry Potter, like I mentioned. Love going to Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah.
It's real. I mean, they were doing some good things. I think for me, the repeatability of Universal is what's lacking for me.
Okay.
We did go. We actually got passes again just a few years ago. I think it was 2021. We were just going for a few days, and it made more sense financially
Yeah.
just to grab some passes, right? So we did it, and we found ourselves not really wanting to go back as much as we were
Yeah.
going to Disney. It's just weird. It was just for us. It just wasn't. It's like I can go and grab some more butter beer, but it's like I can go get on a
Hey,
Velocicoaster or
yeah.
but like, all right, I'm done. Like I'll go over to Disney now. Like that's
Hmm.
what it was for me. It turned into I don't enjoy going here over and over and over again, like I do Disney. And again, I think it's just because there's not as much to do, as much different things to do.
Yeah.
And again, there is something to be said, and I know you guys have talked about it as well. And you, Amerlin, have talked about where that factor of when you're at Universal, you've got some proximity between the two parks and
Yeah.
City Walk that connects them. But that's it. I mean, you can get to some of the hotels, but you look out the window of that hotel, you're seeing the IHOP across the street.
Yeah.
You're not seeing
Exactly.
this themed area like when you're in the bubble at Disney, right? It's a completely different dynamic, and it really makes a difference. It truly makes a difference. I mean, I made it a big point. I mentioned about Wilderness Lodge, but I mean, you're anywhere from that hotel, you look out, all you see is trees and lake. It's
Yeah.
you
Telling me you
don't
don't enjoy seeing the I-4 corridor?
yeah, I don't need
Damn.
I don't need to see what's happening over there on the corner at the Days Inn. I just don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what it was for me. Like I enjoy a lot of the things that Universal does and has to offer, and I don't want to discount that. But
Yeah.
for me, it's the repeatability factor. It's the attractiveness for kids. I mean, we factor that in a
Yeah.
lot as
Hey.
well.
Yeah.
And so there's not a lot for kids to do there. If they're not over the age of 10 or 11, you're quite out of luck. Now they're changing that a little bit with that DreamWorks area that they're almost finished with,
Right.
and that'll be nice. But again, repeat for me,
Yeah.
not really.
Yeah.
As for me, I hate to kind of be the bearer of bad news, but I haven't stepped foot in Universal since I was middle school,
Yeah.
maybe.
Okay.
So it's been
Okay.
I mean, we're talking about, I'm aging myself here, but we're
It's been
talking
some
about
years.
20, 25 years. I
Hey,
remember
man.
Jaws, still making me wet my pants back in intermediate school.
Yeah.
That's how long it's been. But I've kicked around the idea of getting a pass here soon.
Yeah.
We'll see. Because my son, he loves the Minions. He loves the Grinch of all things. I did not
Yeah.
expect that to
Yeah.
happen, but he's falling in love with some of those characters and kind of entertaining the fact of going that route. But what's holding me back is like what Jordan's saying, the repeatability. Am I going to get the same value out of that pass that I'm getting out of our Disney passes? Because
Yeah.
I've got 4 gates that I can scan into. I've got a Skyliner I could get on without a park ticket and do so much stuff outside of the parks that don't even need to buy a park ticket. Let's not forget about all the resorts and the activities just there at the resorts. What can you do at Universal that's similar to that? And like you
Right.
just talked about, Disney has their bubble that they're in. Like you have 5 miles of nothing but Disney themed stuff, whereas you're scattered with Universal. So, like I just said, the Skyliner option, I can hop on the Skyliner from any of the resorts that it goes to, and I can cruise to the other side of it and go have a meal at the resort.
Yeah.
Who says I can't? You can't do that at Universal. You'll have to go to City Walk Park, pay to park if you're not if I'm not mistaken, you have to pay to park at City Walk.
Yeah. It's
Then you
all
have
it's
to
all one area.
go-
So
Yeah. So and then you have to go walk into there. There's no Skyliner or Skyway access outside of that. That's for free anyway.
Right.
And then you're traveling in between both of them on the I-4 corridor, which, as you know, can be hectic at times. And I don't see where the same value can be returned. Now, I will throw an asterisk there. There are resorts that, because I had my first experience as we did with Ryan and Jordan. Jordan brought us when we went down for a business meeting. We went to Cabana Bay.
Cabana Bay, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And my gosh, bowling and pizza and ice cream parlor
Yeah.
and
You're familiar,
all that
Cal.
stuff is there.
Yeah.
So
Oh
we
yeah.
were impressed with that. You don't get that at Disney. However, the value of the entire property being at your disposal at Disney versus Universal is hands down just
Yeah.
tipping the scale.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there is a big difference. I will say, yeah, we kind of fall in line right in the middle. Like we've done just Universal trips. They're always a little shorter. Like we said, there's less, less to do. Um, but one of these last times we went, we broke it up because we wanted to squeeze in Festival of the Arts before it ended. And we step in to Epcot, and we had my brother-in-law with us, and he was like, guys, why aren't we staying at Disney? Like, can we stay at Disney next time? I was like, oh, come on, man. But like, yeah, there's a lot to be said about like what everything you guys have talked about, the bubble, that feeling. Yeah, I will say that Universal, they do have a good product though, and it's definitely worth checking out, especially come next year. They're opening 3 brand new resorts. And of course, Epic Universe is gonna be, everybody's gonna want to go there at some point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
but
They're definitely stepping foot, higher in the game, and making a broader impact.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they've seen where the flaws are, and a lot of it may not be their fault as far as like, they only had so much acreage that they can work with, as like,
Yep.
so they can't do nighttime spectaculars like they do at Cinderella Castle, because they just don't have, if they did that, a Hogwarts Castle would be a mess. So they,
in someone's backyard. Yeah.
exactly. So
And
they
honestly,
can't.
you gotta appreciate Walt Disney's vision whenever he bought all this property all at that one time and had the forward thinking of having that established, because that now has forced Universal to be behind the ball and doesn't have the opportunity to pull off some of the things that Disney can because of that. So it plays into exactly your point.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I will say that I think we'll see some changes as far as like Epic Universe is concerned. Like the nighttime spectacular, they're gonna have their square footage where they can do pretty much whatever they want.
Yeah, and that's kind of what's unique about Epic, right? Is that this is the first time Universal has had this type of space and this type of footprint that say, hey, we can kind of do whatever we want to.
Yeah.
And so I know they're chomping at the bit to get all this in place, because this is by far going to be their largest park, right?
Yeah.
And so for them, right, it's just like they're licking their chops and say, okay, what can we do with this to maximize this thing? Because yeah, it's the most amount of space they've ever had. And based on the plans and the teasers, I mean, it looks like they're going all in for it, which again, at the end of the day, the consumer gets to win there. I just want to see how much cost we're going to be hit with for it.
Oh, I know. I think about like, I want to stay at I think it's called the Grand Helios Hotel, the one that's like right there in the park.
Yeah.
I'm just expecting like, contemporary prices or Grand Floridian prices. Like I know it's just going to be, $1,500 a night, easily. Yeah. But yeah, I know.
Chunk
like,
change, boys.
Hey,
right?
It's just money.
Get your
baby.
game up. It's just money, baby. Yeah.
Exactly. But I'm excited to see what Disney, because I think I forget who said this recently, but with the announcement of the drone show in Disney Springs,
Yeah.
it's kind of weird that it's in Disney Springs. I don't know how you guys feel about that.
Yeah, totally.
Oh yeah,
totally weird.
Very weird.
I think we mentioned this a little bit whenever when we heard and got the rumors of them testing those drones at Disney Springs. Is my final theory on this is that this is not the final production. This is a test run. This is to see how it's received, so then they can go and say, all right, we did it this way. Now let's go make it bigger and better, and let's go throw it into a park.
Yeah, scaled testing.
That's what they're going to do. That's exactly what's going to happen. And what a perfect place to do drones than at Animal Kingdom.
Right.
No sounds are involved.
Oh,
You
yeah.
don't scare the animals, right? So Animal Kingdom hasn't had that nighttime spectacular, so to speak, for a few years now, right? And they've tried different things, over the years. And so I think
Yeah.
that I think it's the perfect opportunity for them to test at Disney Springs, and then I would not be surprised one bit if they rolled it over to Animal Kingdom in say 6 months to a year.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good perspective. I never thought about Animal Kingdom. You're right. Like it's the shows don't always they just don't seem to be working over there for
No,
some reason. It's
no,
weird.
yeah. They had
Yeah.
that show. They had the
That is always
show.
changing.
Yeah, they had the Rivers of Light for years, and then it went away. I think right around the pandemic, maybe just
Let's
before,
not
and
forget the
then
kites.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, and they brought the kites during the day, right? And
Yeah, the kites.
that
Yeah.
was just a joke. I mean, you just had to
It
go there
really
just for the
was.
fun of seeing them all deflate and hit everything along the way.
Yeah.
Nothing like King Louis just coming in and like just taking out the crowd on the steps there.
Right.
So yeah, it was more that type of entertainment factor for me. But yeah,
Yeah.
they've been searching for that, and I think it would be a great fit.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, as we wrap up our hour here, what is the future of Off the Monorails look like?
Man, we are kind of again content wise. If anyone's out there making some content, it's ever changing, ever evolving, and I think you're in a good spot if you're evolving along the way, right? I don't think you should always stay the same, and I think our times change, and I think that's what we're doing along with us, right? Is we're starting to get more into more video content, which
Yeah.
I absolutely love. It lets us scratch a new creative itch, and so you'll be seeing a lot more video content from Off the Monorails.
Awesome.
The YouTube channel will be getting a refresh and kind of getting new content pumped through there, and really just expanding on what we already do. Our goal again is to just we're just three dudes just talking Disney, having simple conversations. Sometimes not the most pretty conversations. Bring the reality into it a little bit, but that's what we are at the end of the day, and that's what we're still going to be. But we try to continue to invest in ourselves, continue to invest in our listeners and our viewers, and just the people. Again, when you get the opportunity to talk to people and hear stories about one little piece of content that you made or said, how that impacts them, makes a difference for them, and it truly means everything to us. And so anything we can do to do more of that is for sure where we're headed. And we always good for throwing out some apparel and things like that too. We always like to throw that out there too. So a lot more of the same and a lot of new things when it comes to content. So we're very, very happy and excited about what's coming here in the near future.
Yeah, expanding on that, I think we're one of the best in the meme game for Disney content creation. And I'm gonna tip the cap to my brother because he's the one that's mainly spearheads the meme Mondays that we hold. So we always get a kick out of his next creation that he texts us after he makes it, and we just all just share a great laugh, and then he schedules it and we're like, that's gonna be a hit.
If only you should if
you
only
should see our text message
the ones that we haven't shared.
Right.
Those are the ones that like, oh, should we post that? Maybe not today.
Yeah, that one might be a little too hard for this one. But we're always evolving, trying to approach things differently, and it's funny because it's a three-headed animal that we have with our podcast. So
right,
you have three individually thinking ways that are cohesive. So what may work for Jordan may not necessarily work for me whenever I'm making content creation, because I am who I am, he is who he is. So it's awesome because we share different variations of content that we think can succeed. Some of them are great, some of them not so great, and that's fine. half the stuff I put up and share, it's mainly for my enjoyment
Yeah,
because I mean
Yeah.
I get a kick out of it.
yeah,
So if
Yeah.
I get a kick out of it, that's all that matters to me. If anyone else does, share along with me. I just want to make you laugh. That's all it is.
yeah.
Uh, and then we like to focus on our food booth reviews with all that stuff. I'm notoriously getting the French booth when we do our festival
Right.
review menus. That always is a hoot and a holler for some of our listeners, and they've made it known.
Yeah.
Um, we love our craft beer tasting. Collective Arts Brewing has never let us down. Well, we are stands of theirs, and Jordan's fridge proves it. Um,
Yeah.
so I mean, just it's a lot of the same, like Jordan said, but
Yeah.
with Jordan implementing some other things that he likes to do video wise. We're going to be tackling some of those long form and short form. And as for myself, I finally got some new content whenever I went down a couple of weeks ago that I have not shared yet. So we got some things in development for me as well. Uh, with us being not so local within the Orlando bubble, it makes things difficult, but we try not to recycle too much, and we try to stay current and put
Yeah.
some new stuff out there. So stay along with us. We like to have fun. We have so much content that we're ready to push, and it's just a matter of time when we finally get it out there for everyone's viewing pleasure.
Yeah, and just to kick back, I know this series, right, Cal, is behind the creator, right?
Yeah.
And I think just for anyone out there, right, if someone's watching or listening to this and is a creator or thinking about doing some content creation or things like that, I think that's one thing to keep in mind. Like Justin said, is do it for you first. Don't do it for other people. I mean, if you aren't passionate about the content that you're making, if you don't want to be a consumer of your own stuff, then chances are some other people may not want to either. I think you've got to love it and enjoy it yourself first. And I think that's what we've always taken a pleasure in is making things that we enjoy and making
Yeah.
content for us. And then if there's people out there that are as weird as we are and enjoy the same stuff as we do, then more power. But that's just from that perspective, from a content creator's perspective of we try our hand in a lot of things, and there's a lot of people out there making some great content. We've made some many good friends doing some incredible things out there.
Yeah.
And you just look up to that and you're like, man, that's great, that's awesome, and they're doing it for them, and that makes it even better. So
More inspiring too.
yeah, and it is, and it makes you you push yourself, right? It makes you that much more hungry, that much more
Yeah.
eager to push, and continue to grow. And so yeah, I think it's all healthy, and I wish success for everyone when they're doing it. So
Yeah.
yeah, excited for the new things to happen, and we'll let them happen organically, but excited to see all the new things that come along with that, whether that's new friends, new relationships, and just new good times.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Yeah, it's been, it's like we've only been doing this for a short while, but like I'll just reiterate what you guys said. It's like it's just been great doing something that we love, but also like creating the content has brought another level to that. Meeting people, like-minded people, and talking to people like yourselves, like that we all love the same thing. We're all here for the same reason, but it's the extra level of we're creating something too above that, and like so we can connect on that level as well beyond the theme parks. So the short time we've been doing it, it's just been a joy to meet all these people and to be able to,
Absolutely.
yeah, to just share those perspectives.
Yeah. Do you mind if I ask you a question?
Yeah, man. Yeah, go for it.
So how's the dynamic working and doing this whole thing with Amberlin? Like and how is that? How do you find that with your guys' relationship, and just how you approach vacations together now, and doing? I know you said that she was the kind of the Disney lover and kind of got you into it. But how is content and creating that kind of evolved your relationship and how you approach, those times together in the parks?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. I think like ultimately it's been honestly a blast. And we've kind of found our thing that we love, and we're just, we're pursuing it like a hundredfold, like as much as we can. But as far as like the way we take trips together now, it's definitely changed it, right? Because I'm always, I have a lot of energy. I'm always on my feet. I don't want to sit still. And she's more relaxed. She'd rather kick back and read a book and like take things on a slower pace.
Mm.
So like our trips in the past have been like me dragging her along as we are like, all right, let's ride this. We have to accomplish something. But
Yeah.
now it's like, now we're filming content. So now it's like, oh, we're just going to stay here for a while and we'll get this shot, we'll get that shot. Okay, like let's do this now. Or we have a goal and we have a purpose, and once that's done, we're like, all right, we can just chill now. So it's like, if anything, we're enjoying the parks like a lot more. And because we're trying to film content and keep up with Justin, you mentioned we're not locals either. Obviously, we're in the Northeast, so to get down there, thank goodness for Spirit and Frontier.
Yeah.
Cheap flights, getting down there as much as we can. We're trying to make the most of when we are down there. But it's like, it's brought a new perspective to it, man. And I've definitely really enjoyed it. Yeah, it's been great.
That's awesome.
I also have a question that I want to throw at you,
Yeah.
because you just inspired this one. So, uh, I know with Jordan and my brother and myself, I know we sometimes go through periods of time of not being in the parks or going down to Orlando just due to work, scheduling, what have you. What is your go to stay within the loop in creating content for Disney when you go through periods of time where you're not able to get down to Orlando?
Yeah, it's been a struggle, man. Because like I get this I forget who posted it, but I saw recently in threads that they were feeling like the FOMO really really hard. Like as specifically for content creators, right? Because you see all these people, they're able to just wake up instantly. All right, new things happening at Epcot today. We're going to Epcot. So like we're constantly facing that. But to answer your question, um, you probably have seen it, in various as I move around, but we made the green screen, and that's kind of helped. We can do whatever background we want. So I call them like talking head videos, where we'll sit down and
Mm-hmm.
our first video was Epic Universe, and when they announced all that stuff, and we weren't even going to make a video about it, but we had, when we were in Volcano Bay, their water park, we're caught talking to one of their team members, and we were like, oh wow, we love this tapu tapu system. It's like the virtual queue. You
Mm-hmm.
just tap in and then you wait, and then you go back when it's your turn. You don't have to wait in line, or
Yeah.
little line. Or like, and she was like, oh yeah, you love it, like it's going to be in Epic Universe. And we're like, wow, okay, that's amazing. So, and we had forgotten about that because that was a few months ago. And then when they announced Epic Universe, we're like, we know our unique perspective now, because now we know a secret that probably
Yeah.
not a lot of people know.
Yep.
So it's hard, but it to like you just have to find like unique perspective. It's like a double whammy, right? Because we're not only not a local, so we can't be there for every release, but we're also a smaller channel that has
Yeah.
to compete with bigger channels that people are already subscribed. They're gonna watch
Yep.
no matter what the video is, no matter what the thumbnail is, no matter what the title is, or whatever it is. So we're like trying to compete on both those factors. So just like finding your unique perspective and seeing how you can tell the story. It worked with the Epic Universe video. We expected that to get like 20 views. I think it's at like 3.6K right now.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so we're pretty proud of that, as a small channel, and that boosted our subscribers to like 125, I think we're at now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's slow growth. YouTube's a marathon, not a sprint, and
It,
Yep.
yeah,
yeah.
Very much
absolutely
so.
is. Yeah, and that's the thing too. Is like if you enjoy, kind of goes back to that. If you enjoy doing it, you're going to keep on doing it, and that's the name of the game. As long as you do it and you're consistent and you keep on, then it's going to come, right? And so, yeah, that's I watched that episode as well, right? So I like that video, and it's it's one of those things is you got to do it. You
Yeah.
thought about maybe not even doing it, and you guys got to throw yourself out there and do it. And that's what I love. That's what I love a lot about a lot of people we meet, like yourself, is it takes a lot of guts to put yourself out there and open yourself up to
Humility.
criticism, right?
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
if you go in with some
Trust me,
humility,
it's a lot of that. A lot of haters in those comments, man. I've been I've peeled
We
through
welcome
them.
it. We
Yeah.
welcome it
yeah,
because they're
hey,
watching.
hey, if any a bad comment or a mean comment, it's still a comment. So it's just going to
Yeah.
help boost that algorithm.
Yeah, exactly, man.
We'll take it. So yeah, it's that's what I love, right? It's like seeing people passionate about what they're doing. I mean, that's what it's all about. So it's really cool to hear.
Awesome, man. Yeah. Yeah, it's been a cool journey, man, and our our goal is just to, make the best content this year. We want to try just keep growing the community, see what happens, and I'm
Yeah.
pretty confident we'll get some amazing stuff done. It doesn't, it helps that there's all kinds of crazy stuff happening this year. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Yes. Yeah.
News
Yeah.
galore.
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, hey,
Thank you,
man.
Scott Gustin. If you know, you know.
It's it's been a pleasure talking to you guys, man, and hopefully I'll get to, I want to get some of the guys that have been on before back on again, eventually, and see the progress in between, and what's happened since then. And so yeah, thanks for coming on, guys.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, Kyle. I really appreciate it. And we kind of we all kind of take these leaps of faith a little bit to try to evolve and grow, and getting opportunities to meet new people, and it's great. And I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I hope we get to do it again real soon. Maybe we'll do it on our
I was about to say, you never know.
Yeah,
We'll pull you over on our
absolutely.
show.
Yeah, for sure, man. Anytime.